Strength Warehouse presents Go Heavy or Go Home podcast. I am your host, Nate Boley. In this podcast, we talk about strength, fitness, nutrition, and all things Strength Warehouse related. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast, season 2. Today's episode is the power of mindset in the pursuit of change. So Coach Mike and I were talking about this earlier today, and I went ahead and wrote a little podcast about it. But basically, we're going to talk about some different things that we see the most successful people do in overcoming change and becoming successful in doing different things in their life, right? And these are also things that the people that aren't successful do as well. So this doesn't have to always do with our gym, but it's a lot of the things that people do in and out of our gym. But it's also stuff that I have talked to some of the most successful people that I know, and these are the things that they really try to strive to be really good at. Now, I know we're all humans. We all make mistakes, and we will never live up to our true potential, especially if you're a forward thinker instead of like more of a gap thinker instead of a game thinker. But anyway, one of the biggest things that we see is a mindset shift, right? So when you start something new, especially a gym membership or just whatever it is, right? Whatever you're starting to do, but specifically because we're a gym podcast, talking about gym specific things, is when you say yes to a new gym membership thing that you haven't done in a long time, say maybe it's 6, 8 months, 2 years, 10 years, whatever it is, you have to say no to something else, because I can't remember the law, but basically the law is, I can't remember the name of the law. I'll put it in the show notes, but whatever you do, whatever time frame you allot something, it will eventually fill up that entire thing. So if you say, hey, you know, so-and-so, I'm going to give you 1 hour to clean this bathroom. Well, it's going to take them the entire hour, right? They're going to fill up their time. Maybe it's scrolling through Instagram. Maybe it's whatever it is. Same thing with your entire life. So you're not just sitting there mindlessly staring at the wall for hours on end. You're filling up your time with things to do, right? And so when you take on a new endeavor, such as a gym routine, it's crucial to understand if you desire a different outcome, you have to be willing to make the sacrifices. You have to say no to something else, whether that's mindlessly scrolling through Instagram, or maybe it's taking an extra hour in the bathroom each morning, or maybe it's, I don't know. I mean, whatever it is, maybe it's sitting down and just typing out long emails. I don't know, whatever you got going on in your life, but your life is completely full from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed with stuff that you're doing, whether it's productive stuff or non-productive stuff. It's still filling up your time, right? So when you take on a new endeavor, you have to be willing to say no to something else. So many times have I come in contact with potential clients or clients that have come here and they say, hey, I'm just too busy. I can't make it happen. And that's just not true. The truth is that they're not saying no, or they're not willing to say no to something else they've been doing in their lives to fit the time in to get to the gym or whatever that may be. We all have the exact same amount of time in the day. And whether we all go to work 9 to 5, I mean, nobody's working 24/7. They're just not. You can't do it. It's not possible. And our gym is open for freaking 14 hours, right? You're not working 14 hours. If you are working 14 hours, you still have other days of the week that you're off. I know some hospital workers do that type of stuff, but they still have 7 days off here, whatever. So there's still availability for them to come into a gym or do something else outside of their work hours. So when somebody comes into me and says, hey, it's just not working out, I don't have the time, one is they don't value the service, and two, they haven't said no to something else that's filled up their time to allot them the time that they need to be successful in the gym, right? So again, you have to be able to prioritize and prepare to say no to something to make room for a new commitment. And that's a lot of things we talk about in our No Sweat intro is, hey, do you have time for this? And if you don't, we need to figure out, because do you really want this? Do you want this bad enough to potentially say no to something else in your life, right? So the next point I want to come up with is overcoming mental resistance. So understand that your mind often resists change because it finds comfort in familiarity, and your subconsciousness will tell you taking on new risks is too difficult. It's too hard. Your life's too busy to accommodate it. This goes back to the first one. You have to be able to tell your mind up front, I'm going to say no to, maybe it's going to happy hour. Maybe it's sleeping in late. I don't know what it is in your life that you can say no to, but something that you don't value as much anymore because it's not getting you to the goals that you want. You have to evaluate the goal you have. Tell yourself, is this what I want, right? But overcoming resistance, right? So your subconsciousness, it likes to not be in pain. It doesn't want to try new things because it's scary for your brain. And you don't think about this because you're like, I can do hard things. But then your subconscious slowly creeps in like, oh, you might have made a bad decision that maybe was a little bit outside your budget. Are you going to have enough time? Are you going to fit into the community? Are you going to hurt yourself? All the negative thoughts come about, right? And these are the things where people get tripped up over, and you see it just like domino work. You can see them sign up. You can see them a little bit hesitant, and you can tell right away when somebody's going to be pretty much going to be consistent and going to be successful with it, and somebody's not going to be successful. I try to have those conversations with people, but they literally just, you have to have those conversations with yourself. And you can listen to this podcast, and hopefully it resonates with you, and brings you some value. But yeah, so anyway, you have to, when obstacles arise, your mind is going to tell you, it's going to use anything that came in, whether it's maybe you got a flat tire, whether it's, oh man, I slept in past my alarm, work called me, they want me an extra day, a financial burden came up. Your brain's going to use these little obstacles that are really nothing, like a one-time occurrence, maybe a family emergency, whatever. Oh no, I don't have time to work out anymore. Right? Your brain is using that to basically lead you back to your old ways. It's going to validate your initial fears and all the initial negative thoughts that your brain told you, because it wants you to go back to the familiarity and the comfort zone where it was, because it was comfort there. It's not scared. It's not having to do new things. It's not challenging to your brain. So you have to be able to say, hey, I know this is going to happen. When's it going to happen? And notice these little steps. Oh, my car got a flat tire. Dang it. Today I might not get to go to the gym, but guess what? Tomorrow I get to instead. And so that's where we can, we use the brain, we use that to confirm that the change was a mistake, and it's leading you back to your old habits. And you have to recognize this is it's a big trap. So stay vigilant, stay sharp, understand what your brain is doing. And it's okay. We're all the same way. Like, I signed up for, Ben Business Group, and I was like, man, it's Thursday mornings at 7 o'clock. I got to get there at 6:40. It's an hour and a half out of my day. I could be working. I could be making money. This is, it's hard. It's hard to get up that early. Snow gets in the way. Kids get in the way, all the different stuff. And I stuck with it for a year and a half, and I saw these things happening. Like, oh my gosh, this is happening. This is happening. Exactly what, my therapists and my friends that have done these types of things really are focused in on. Like, is it a bad decision that you just made? Because you made the decision, hopefully you didn't make it in an emotional state, but you made the decision because you wanted to change. And now your brain is saying, hey, no. You said, I told you I wanted to change, but I didn't really want you to change, because now that requires me to work and work harder. And it's going to require more calories for me to burn. In our old school brains where, coming back from just hunter-gatherers, where we're just literally trying to find food and not get eaten by the tiger, that's what our brain's thinking, right? It goes back to they call it the reptilian brain. Sorry, I can't talk today. One of the biggest things that you can do to overcome the mental resistance and have the mindset shift is clarifying your why. It's not simply enough to just state, hey, I want to achieve XYZ, such as losing 5 pounds, or I want to get stronger. You must dig a little bit deeper into this. You have to peel the onion, as per se, right? So the initial, I want to lose 5 pounds. I want to get stronger. I want to, move better. That's just the first level. What's the real reason? Is it because you're the pain point of not being able to, lift something off the ground or not being able to, pick up the dog food, or, not being able to put your luggage in the overhead bin because it hurts, or you're just not strong enough for it, or, you're feeling like have too much body weight on you, so you don't fit into the clothes that make you feel good, or maybe makes your spouse think that you make those clothes you think make your spouse look at you a different way, or maybe you just get tired of the park, or you're not able to hang out with your kiddos as much. There's all these different underlining whys. And during our No Sweat intro, we understand, hey, sometimes you just want to lose 5 pounds. But the reason I want to lose 5 pounds, or 10 pounds actually, is because I feel so much better. I feel so much lighter. I'm able to do more things, and I'm happier with my life when I'm 10 pounds lighter, right? So that was my main why I feel better in life with when I lose 10 pounds. So if I just came up to somebody and said, I want to lose 10 pounds, can you make that happen? Well, as soon as it gets hard, because losing 10 pounds is not super easy, especially if you're already fairly lean, it gets hard. The easiest thing to do is negotiate with your mind, being like, I really didn't want to lose 10 pounds anyway. But you don't go, hey, this is hard, but is my why solid enough for me to stick with this, right? As soon as if you just have I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to be generally healthy forever fit, goal, or I just want to be stronger goal, the next time, your friends ask you to go out to a happy hour, you're going to be there, because it's not going to be enough why to continue to chase that carrot. And then you go to the next, happy hour, you go to a birthday party on the weekend, and pretty much you're like, screw it. I've actually gained 2 pounds. This is not working out for me. I'm too busy. And then the brain starts saying, hey, guess what? I told you so. You didn't have enough time. You didn't have enough energy. You didn't have enough strength. You didn't have enough finances, all this stuff, all the negative thoughts. And then you just buckle because it's easier to do that, right? So adopt a new identity. Embracing the idea that you're evolving into a new version of yourself, right? Considering how this new you would handle challenges and setbacks. So you can't go into something new trying to get a new identity if you're going to use your old reasonings and thought patterns and habits to get there. It's not reasonably plausible for that to happen, right? If you're going to do something new, you have to adopt a new identity. So basically saying, hey, and it doesn't have to be 100%, but what would the new person say? What would the new me with my new goals and my new identity say if I had a flat tire? Well, maybe I'd get my spouse to drive me. Maybe I'd take an Uber. Maybe I'd take the bus. Maybe I'd walk. Maybe I'd ride my bike. Ben, you could ride your bike almost anywhere, right? It's going to take you a little while, and you watch out for the cars, but hey, you can get anywhere you want to fairly easily. Or, hey, oh man, the boss asked me to work a couple extra hours today. I'm going to miss the 4 o'clock class. I'm just not going today. Well, there's a 5:15 and a 6:30 you can still go to. Well, that's just not ideal for me. Okay, so now you're not adopting that new identity. The new identity would be like, hey, my boss asked me to stay an extra hour. I'm going to miss the 4 o'clock. I'm coming at 5:15, or I'm coming at 6:30. Or maybe it's, hey, I got to work so late that I can't actually make any of those classes. I'm going to come to the next day. So having those things, how would the new you, or somebody that that you aspire to be, how would they handle the challenges and setbacks that may occur, right? Because they're going to. Again, your brain is telling you these things. Every single thing that comes up, every little, shoestring that's, on the very bottom, just hanging out on the ground, or a little tiny, pebble on the ground that you trip on, your brain's saying, see, told you, you can't do that. It's easy to go back to the old you, where you don't have to worry about getting, challenging yourself, and I don't have to burn so many calories, and we're not worried about the tiger trying to eat us when you get out of our comfort zone. So these are, it's definitely difficult, right? But we have to, it's essential to reinforce the ideas of a new you and a new approach to obstacles. So something we don't do a lot in our gym is helping people, determine these and approach these obstacles differently. But I'm hoping that we can do that. We're always an evolving business, and we're always looking to do better for our clients. And this is why we do this podcast, right? Is to say, hey, we're finding this void, in the industry, and we're not seeing a lot of people that are helping this void. They're just leaving it alone. And we're not afraid to go into these voids and try to help people out and try to, do the best we can for everybody. So that's why we're doing this. But resiliency is absolutely key, and consistency is absolutely key. It's not about motivation. You've heard me talk about this all the time. It's about being consistent and being resilient when things happen, right? So just for an example, we had a really awesome client. They broke their hand, and they could not do our group classes anymore because it was just too much for them, which is totally fine. We totally get it. We modified things for them. And we ended up doing one-on-one sessions with this client, and they were wildly successful with the one-on-one client, one-on-one aspect, because we could use so many different modalities and aspects of fitness that they hardly ever had to use their hand. And then once their hand started to heal back up, we can start implementing the hand usage and strength again slowly, right? So again, if the old person was to say, "Oh, I broke my hand. I'm done with fitness. I can't do it anymore. It's too much work." Or, "Hey, my boss changed my schedule. I can't do it anymore." That's just, it's literally your brain trying to reinforce the changes you've made because it's hard for them is the wrong choice, right? So just keep on thinking about that every time you have like a little negative thought, like, well, is this serving my goal? Or what's it trying to do here? What's my subconscious trying to tell me to do? Striving for progress and not perfection is really how we need to come about this. Because like I said in the beginning, we're all human, and there's no way we can ever be perfect. It's just impossible. And I don't think anybody would really want to be perfect, right? Maybe we act like we do, but we don't really want to. We're gonna have pitfalls, and we're gonna have setbacks, and we're gonna have injuries and all that type of stuff, but really focusing on the progress and continual improvement and learning from the setbacks and staying committed to your goals. And that comes back to like clarifying your goals. And so in our 90-day journey, every 90 days, we sit down with our clients and we make sure we clarify a good goal for them going forward. So we know that they're going to be successful. And then we follow up with them and be like, "Hey, did you get to these goals? Were you successful? Did you adhere to them? What were the setbacks? What were the hard things?" And it's basically just one step at a time, one baby step at a time, and that's all the things you can do in life. Those are the 4 reasons why we see people either are successful or we see them not successful, right? So we see the most successful people in our gym and people in my life are using these tactics. And the most unsuccessful people in our gym and in life that I know of are using these in the opposite way. They're not clarifying their why. They're not shifting their mindset. They're not overcoming mental resistance. They're letting their mind just control them. Their subconscious control them. And they're not adopting that new identity. They're letting their old ways of handling challenges and setbacks control what's going on. So if you guys can just get behind a couple of those, man, you're going to be so much farther ahead than most people in and out of the gym and in life. You're going to see that, hey, you're going to get to know yourself a little bit better, and you're going to understand when things are hard, there's reasons for that, and that they're different for every person, right? But how can we overcome these types of things, and how can we feel better about each one? Because it's not just I'm fighting against my body. It's no, you're training your mind to do hard things. And your mind's always going to give you feedback. It's always going to give you, some resistance because that's just the way your subconscious works. But we can try to train it a little bit, and we can understand when it's trying to do negative things for our lives. And it's not, it's not suiting our new habits and our new goals and our new identity and stuff like that. All right, guys, well, that's all I got for you today. I know this one's a little bit short, 18 minutes, but I really appreciate you guys joining us today. I'm going to leave you with what I do every single time, and that is success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts, and everything you want in life is on the other side of fear. So get out there today and take some action, all right? All right, guys, see you later. Thanks for joining us on this epic journey of strength. If you liked this episode, please leave us a review and share with a friend. To stay connected, hit that subscribe button. All right, until next time, go heavy or go home.